Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our UCLA Global Internship Program info session focused on programs located in Singapore. My name is Ana Arellano, and I'm the coordinator for the Global Internship Programs here at the UCLA Study Abroad office. With us today, we have a very special guest. We have Sabrina Stark, who is part of the Absolute Internships team. For Absolute Internships, they are our program partners, so they're the ones that have the global network in Singapore, and they'll be the ones securing your internships. So it's really good to have Sabrina here. If you have any questions throughout the session, feel free to enter them into the Q&A, enter them in the chat. We will have a time allocated at the end, but whether it be questions for myself, Sabrina, feel free to just enter those into the chat. And thank you for joining us today. So today's agenda is relatively small. We hope just to give you a good sense about what this program is about, give you an overview about Singapore, and hopefully convince you to apply to this program. So once again, program overview and eligibility, we'll review placement process and timeline. Sabrina will speak about interning in Singapore, as well as give some past internship examples. And then we'll conclude our info session with program funding options, as well as the Q&A. So just a very brief overview about our program located in Singapore. The program dates, students will be interning abroad in Singapore for 8 weeks. Specifically, students can expect to be on site from June 28th through August 22nd, 2024. While you are interning, you will be receiving academic credit. And for that reason, you will need to enroll in an internship course. This course is online completely, and it would follow summer session A dates, which is June 24th through August 30th. For the coursework, students would be expected or will be earning 4 units. You also have an option to receive 8 units total. And I'll speak a little bit more about these type of academics and courses that you'll be enrolling in, but the program ranges for anywhere from 4 to 8 units. I do want to make a quick note that if students are interested in using their UCLA financial aid to cover the cost of the program, you must be enrolled in 8 units total. Our internships, they are academic credit only, and they are not paid. And on site, you can expect to intern approximately 32 hours per week. Singapore itself, we have available we have partnerships with UCLA departments. These include the Communications Department, Global Affairs, which falls under the International Institute. We have Political Science, and we have Public Affairs. While these programs are partnered with UCLA specific departments, so they are catered to these students, they are open to all majors and minors, with the exception of Public Affairs, which is open to Public Affairs majors and minors only. Within these academic tracks, we have a couple of career sectors that includes advertising, marketing, public relations. We have advocacy groups, human rights, NGOs, nonprofits, and social justice. I do want to make a quick note that all these career sectors are not located in each location. So for example, communications, you can expect advertising, marketing, PR, but each location, the career sectors they offer would differ. At each individual program page, whether it be communications in Singapore, global affairs in Singapore, the individual page itself will indicate what career sectors are available. Eligibility criteria, eligible majors and minors, unless you are from the public affairs major or minor, this Singapore academic track is open to all UCLA majors and minors. There are no prerequisites, whether you're part of the communications, global affairs, public affairs department, there are no prerequisites. However, students are expected to have a 3.0 cumulative GPA, as well as having 90 units total by the start of the program, which is by the end of spring 2024. We do accept AP and transfer credit units. So if you have 90, whether it be through AP, transfer, we do accept that as long as you have the 90 before the end of the spring term. And finally, students are expected to be in good academic standing. Generally, that means having a 2.0 term GPA before you depart. UCLA coursework, all students would mandatory be enrolling in the 195 course, the internship course. Depending on your academic track, this could be 195C or 195CE. However, this will automatically grant you 4 units. Whether or not this course satisfies major or minor requirements is academic track specific. And I'd encourage you to review the academic track program pages to see if they happen to satisfy any major electives or just course credits. We do have an additional course to enroll Zealand is called CSC 130. This will earn students an additional 4 units. This course is the Intercultural Communication in the Global Workplace course, and it's really meant to complement your internship, to give you good techniques to speak with your supervisor, to speak with your colleagues, how to interact within different cultures to make just the best working environment. So like I mentioned, this course is optional. However, for our students seeking to receive financial aid, you must enroll in both the internship course as well as the CSC 130 course for a total of 8 units. Once again, checking the program page to see what kind of major and minor requirements would be available or to satisfy with the elective course. Our applications are now open, and they are open until November 27. In order to apply to the program, I want to mention that this is not a first come, first serve system. We do take the time to review your statement of purpose. We do review your eligibility, and we do take your advising call with all seriously in order to secure you a very good internship. With that said, we do encourage you to apply sooner than later. We do expect a high influx of students to apply November 27 or that week leading up to it. And the reason we encourage you to apply sooner is the sooner you apply, the sooner you have your advising call. And we'll speak a little bit about what that is. But the advising call, if you do not have it, if you wait until your application to submit by the ending of November, your advising call can take place when you are studying for finals, when you are taking finals. So in order to avoid that conflict and just make sure you're dedicating that time to studying, you want to make sure you apply sooner to have your advising call sooner. So with that said, I mentioned a little bit about the advising call. So I have a very brief video, about a minute or so, that explains more about the placement process and what to expect once you submit your application. So we're going to go ahead and play.
The UCLA Global Internship Program. Placement process and timeline. The Global Internship Program offers UCLA students the opportunity to gain a competitive edge in the job market with an 8-week international summer internship. Students receive direct UCLA credit and secure an internship based on their academic, professional, and personal goals. After an application is submitted, the student will interview with our program partners in the host country to assess their qualifications, experience, goals, and discuss possible internship placements. In January, after an extensive review, students are notified of their application status. If accepted, they must submit a non-refundable $300 deposit to secure their spot on the program. In February, students must pay the full program fee or submit a financial aid agreement form. This payment is used to finalize and secure all program logistics, such as housing. This is also the last chance to withdraw from the program without any additional financial penalty. Starting in April and moving into early June, the internship placement process will occur. Our program partners will arrange interviews with local organizations and companies based on each student's individual goals. Students will interview with one host company at a time. Ongoing interviews will continue with prospective internship site managers until there is a match between both the student and the host company. We guarantee all students an international internship placement. Visit ieo.ucla.edu/globalinternships to view our programs, dates and deadlines, funding resources, and more.
So that video explained it much better than I would have, and much quicker as well. But in general, once you submit your application, you would go through an advising call session, and that's with members of the Absolute Internship team, which is very important why we have them here. And with that said, I'm going to pass it along to Sabrina to go ahead and speak a little bit more about the Singapore program and what to expect.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you all for being here today. I'm excited to speak about Singapore. It is one of our top-rated programs that we offer. Singapore is a global hub for business, for innovation. It's a very advanced city-state, and it is ranked second for most globalized economy in the world. It is one of the greenest cities on the world. It is on an island. Singapore is made up of many islands, and it is kind of the east meets west and a gateway to Asia. So students who've never been to Asia are concerned about, culture shock and everything. They usually pick Singapore as kind of their first program or first destination because it is easier to adapt to than other locations in Asia that would have a bigger culture shock. One of the reasons for that is that English is an official language in Singapore. So they have 4 official official languages. And so all business can be done in English. You can use English throughout the country, you know, restaurants, shops, everything. It's easy to get around. Of course, there is the Singlish version, which is a mixture of local words and English that you'll get used to. There is a huge community of foreigners. So, you know, people from Europe, people from the US as well that have gone to work in Singapore, people from all around Asia. So it is a very diverse place. There is a lot of religions, a lot of backgrounds. There's neighborhoods of all different types of communities and food, and Singapore is diversity. It is very, very diverse. The hawker food stalls are amazing. Those are throughout the city and have some of the best food in the world that you can eat for very low prices, and our students love going there. One thing you do have to know about Singapore is that it is very hot and humid in the summer. Average daily is like 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So people usually comment on that it's very hot, like very tropical feeling. But inside all the buildings, of course, there's air conditioning everywhere, and you have to wear like a jacket or sweater inside because it is quite chilly. But outside it is hot and can be rainy as well. But students just love the city and working there. The working culture it tends to be quite intense. Singaporeans work very long hours. Your internship is only 32 hours. So you are lucky. I don't know if I would be a full employee in Singapore, as some people work until 1 or 2 in the morning for like very large companies. That's normal. People in Singapore are overachievers. You know, students do languages, they do instruments, they do sports, they do everything. So Singapore is a great place if you want to be challenged. Students have told me that it's a place they didn't realize how much could be done in like 1 hour because people are just fast. Like they work fast, they think fast, they move fast. Like everything is like, let's go. Okay. So if you're looking for like a relaxed internship experience, I would say Singapore is not the location to choose. There's of course all types of companies and organizations, but in general, like society is quite like, let's go, we want to get things done and achieve. So just so you have an idea about kind of the Singapore vibe. Let me go to the next slide. Is it working in, let's see, there we go. Okay, so the program inclusions that we have that's organized through Absolute Internship, as already mentioned before, is the guaranteed internship placement. So that will be based on your academic studies, and we can guarantee that it will be in that area. The specific organization and role that you have will be defined by the host company or host organization, and your interview results. Accommodation, you will have a shared room in student housing. So you're sharing a room and a bathroom with one other student in the program. So part of the Absolute Internship program. And you also have like a kitchen area. Space in Singapore is small. And the quarters are small. So we speak a lot about that in terms of like not overpacking, being really smart about what you bring, because space is limited, definitely compared to the US. You do have your transport card included in the program, so that's to and from the housing and your internship. Average commute time is anywhere between 30 to 40 minutes each way. That should be expected. There's always students that are lucky they get to walk or it's like 10 minutes away. But the average is 30 to 40 minutes. And we, of course, prioritize the internship match over the commuting time. With that said, most internships are hybrid in nature in that students are going to the office like 3-4 days a week, and they have 1 or 2 days that are remote. So that also helps as well. Like you don't have to commute every single day. So students do appreciate that as well as employees. You do have the working holiday pass visa as well. This is a visa that is applied for electronically. So we will let you know all the documents that you need to submit, and the deadline so that we can apply for it on your behalf. And that's included in the program, and we provide all the instructions about arrival in Singapore, etc. But Singapore is very advanced and it is done electronically. We also have career development workshops as well during the program. So we're going over, cultural differences, challenges that you might have in your internship. And then at the end, how to, really frame your experience in your CV, whether it's for work opportunities, for graduate school, whatever you might be applying for, really using this experience, to level up in your career. And we also have 24/7 on-site support. So we always have people on the ground from Absolute Internship that live in Singapore, the entire summer. They're there to help you with anything. They organize cultural events as well that you can attend, and are there in case, you get sick or need any sort of assistance. You see on the side, we also have day and weekend trips. That we organize. Those are really popular for students. We do one day trip and one weekend trip per month, and then one cultural activity per month. So we send that out about 1 month before your program begins, of an overall list of like, hey, this is what we have planned. This is when it's planned. Like, this is what the fee would be if you want to join. And then you can decide if you want to join or not in the activities. And you have, yes, the different cultural activities. So those are really designed to help you get the most out of your time in Singapore. And host companies actually really love that we do that, because they're like, oh, wow, they're like learning even more about my culture, like outside of the workplace. And they're going to be inviting you to do things as well. People are super welcoming, very excited to have you there with them. But that makes them excited too. Like, oh, on the weekend, you're going to see this famous place that, we care a lot about. So anyway, that's like kind of a general overview of the inclusions. And I need to click. Okay. All right. So some examples of internship placements. We have many different placements, but these are just some examples of what could be options for you. This is in the nonprofit, the Singapore Red Cross Society, which the Red Cross, it's all over the world. And here you have the roles and responsibilities that vary based on the student. But you see collection of qualitative and quantitative data for potential marketing initiatives, supporting development for the first aid course, diabetes education, humanitarian education experience, research and identify possible leads, supporting the academy and planning, preparing outreach, doing presentations. So a lot of internships include, researching, comparing, like coming up with ideas, doing some social media outreach. So this is a pretty typical internship example. Here we have one that's called We Care Community Services. So this is for Addiction Recovery Center. So here you can see all the different forms of addiction that they work with. And they also help the family members who need guidance and support as well. I think it switched, Anna. Okay. And so here you have the education talks, contributing to social media efforts, writing for newsletters, coordinating government surveys. So as we have nonprofits that work in many different areas, and some of these areas maybe could be triggering for you or sensitive, that's really helpful for us to know in the interview stage if there's something that we should be aware of. So please do not feel embarrassed if there's an area that you do not want to work with. Like I've had in the past students that maybe they've struggled with eating disorders and they really do not want to work with an organization that might be related some way to, like exercise, health science, things like that. Please let us know so that way we can be aware in the matching process, and we take that into account. So I've had students not share that until they're already in the internship and on site. And that makes it very difficult for us to just make a change quickly. And so we would have liked to know ahead of time if there was something that was a sensitive topic for you. So especially working in the nonprofit area. And here we have one that's nonprofit kind of communications role. So this is the Global Platform for Sustainable Natural Rubber that you can read about. And so it's a lot about supporting communications that they have, press releases, they have events going on, working with journalists, also doing research, speaking to journalists. So this is kind of a hybrid role, I would say, of like nonprofit and communications. So you can see kind of what they're looking for in this area. And then here's more of a purely like communications role. This is Flame Communications, one of our top internship companies. So they work with very big clients, as you can see here, listed out. We have many companies. It's like, boom, all the famous, companies they work with. And here you can see desk research and prepare materials for PR campaigns, sorry. So yes, they work with like Visa, they work with Doc Martens, they work with all these different clients. So you could be assigned to one or two of their people and like working on specific things for that client. So you can see a little bit here about the tasks and working with influencers and things like that. Here we have another top one that we work with, Visual Studio Singapore. So again, you can see that they work with like HBO, the Singapore Changi Airport, which if you haven't heard about it, it's famous in itself, and people actually travel to Singapore just to spend time at the airport. Like you can spend days at the airport. Like there is a rainforest, there's a waterfall, there's a shopping like world there. So people literally fly from around Asia to just go to the airport. And yeah, so that's one of their clients. You get to see that when you go to Singapore. So here you see a little bit of the tasks again. So it's varied from proposals, doing administrative support. So it's kind of a little bit of everything and based on what you're interested in. And then lastly, we have this one. This was also a popular one with students, Lightfoot Travel. So it's a luxury tour operator that they're in Singapore, Hong Kong, and Dubai. Great places for luxury travel. So they do designer holidays, and they do original trips. They're very tailored. They work with very interesting clients. And so here you see a little bit of the roles like creating, writing, editing, collateral and copy, event organization with marketing reporting. Students who've worked for this company really enjoyed it because they like learned a lot about like luxury travel options, destinations, like packages, like so they had a lot of fun like reading and writing about all of this and the different locations that they go to. So these are just some of examples of internships in Singapore. Again, we have many, but this is just to give you a kind of an idea of what students tend to do in the program.
Thank you, Sabrina. So if you want to read a little bit more about those internship placements or what else possibly could be available within Singapore, we do have a sample internship placement handbook available within each program brochure. Specifically, its own little tab, and on there you can hyperlink. It's available. You can read a little bit more about the company. So there is that option as well if you want to learn a little bit more about those respective placements. I'm sorry if you can hear in my background, there's a train passing by. So program funding options, if you are interested in participating in our Singapore option, which I hope you are, it is financial aid eligible. Financial aid does, when I speak about financial aid, it does mean grants, scholarships, and loans. How much you accept in that aid determines how much you would pay out of pocket. So let's say, for example, the total cost of your program is $12,000. You receive $6,000 in grants and $6,000 in loans, and you do not wish to accept those $6,000 in loans, then you would be responsible for those $6,000 that was not covered, and that would be paid before the program begins. I do want to mention that aid during the summer does tend to be more loan heavy, and that's whether you're participating in a study abroad program or doing summer sessions at UCLA. There are grants available during the academic year that are unfortunately not available during the summer, which is what makes aid more loan heavy. In order to just receive financial aid for these programs, you would submit your FAFSA for the 2024 to 2025 academic school year. Additionally, when you are submitting your application for the Global internship program, you will be asked if you intend to use financial aid. Please make sure you're indicating yes or no as appropriate. If you indicate yes, you would be prompted at a later time. You would be given additional forms in order to secure that aid. If you indicate no and at a later time it becomes a yes, unfortunately, we cannot return to that question to give you those documents. So just make sure it's a yes or a no when you are submitting your application. One of the very first questions that's asked. Once again, a brief reminder that I mentioned earlier, if you intend to receive financial aid, you must enroll in both courses in order to receive 8 units to be counted as a full-time student to be eligible for financial aid. There are also many scholarships that are available. This is free money, so we would strongly encourage you, if you are eligible, to apply. Oftentimes scholarships are under applied to. I'm not saying that if you apply that guarantees you a scholarship, but it's a very good likelihood that can increase your chancehood of being a recipient for a scholarship. Within our office ourselves, we offer the IEO Global Internship Scholarship. The great thing about this is not only does it earn students up to $3,000, but you're only competing amongst yourselves, among global internship participants. So whereas the other scholarships can be within UCLA, within the UC system, perhaps federally, this is a really good opportunity to just within the cohort of the program itself. If students enroll in the 195 CE course, there is a CCE scholarship that's available, public affairs students, global affairs students. We also have on our website some external scholarship database and links. For all Pell Grant recipients, we always strongly encourage students to apply to the Gilman Scholarship, where you can earn up to $5,000. So a lot of great opportunities available out there. If you have any questions about specific scholarship, wants and recommendations, feel free to just send me an email. I'm happy to speak more about those opportunities. Estimated program cost for Singapore, we do see it on screen. So like I mentioned, this program is 8 weeks. Program tuition and fees, it does differ if you enroll in the 4 units or the 8 units. So if you enroll in 4 units, your total program fee would amount to $6,466. For 8-unit program, your total program fee is $7,582. We have an additional expenses that are adjusted for on this program fee, so that IEI fee, meals and incidentals, transportation, round-trip airfare, all of that is accounted for. On the individual program page, you will see items that are billable and non-billable. Billable are items that you would need to pay on your UCLA Bruin bill. Non-billable, such items such as round-trip airfare, transportation, meals and incidentals, those are simply estimates that we believe a student will incur on their program, but they are not paid to anyone directly. So just to give you a good sense, if you enroll in the 4-unit program, your total cost would amount to $11,627 versus our 8-unit program, which is $12,743. Like I mentioned, financially eligible and scholarships, really good opportunity to help chip away at the cost of this program itself. It can decrease, it could increase depending on individual student habits. Like I mentioned, this is just an estimated cost of what we expect students to pay while they are on the program itself. There is an opportunity to speak with our student ambassadors. Well, this would be our first year launching our communications department, for example, program, as well as launching for Singapore. There are ambassadors for different majors, whether it be political science, global affairs. If you want just advice on the statement of purpose, on how to do the advising call, on how to connect within a different environment, whether it be, for example, we had Vietnam students, we had people in Japan. So if you want to speak about living in the Asian culture, for example, though not Singapore, we do have ambassadors that you can speak to. We do have a JP ambassador page, and you can connect with them directly to ask any questions you want about the experience, advice, tips, and just share more about their experience. So with that said, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to always send me an email, or as well as Andrew. I oversee the communication programs, the global affairs, political science, as well as, so if you're not within a major or minor within these departments, any UCLA major or minor, Andrew would oversee our public affairs students. So if you have any questions, direct those to Andrew. Otherwise, I'm happy and available via email. We can schedule an appointment. We can schedule whether it be Zoom or in person. But I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, whether it be for myself or Sabrina, feel free to enter those in the chat or the Q&A. As well, you may feel free to unmute yourself, and then we can go ahead and address those.